Hello and welcome to Say Yes to You and Why You Don't. For women who are great, it's saying yes to others, but not always as great. It's saying yes to themselves. So today I want to talk about that voice in your head that says you're not worth it. And if you were going to have done it, you would have done it already. So I'm bringing this topic to the surface because of a session that I had with a client today who is 54 years old and started with me, and she said, oh my gosh, realizing that I've been listening to this voice in my head. And so if you're somebody who's been listening to this voice in your head, this is for you. And if you haven't accessed your free 15-minute session to identify the saboteurs in your mind, I am going to drop a link in here for you to access it, and it will give you a printout of the 9 different ways your mind gets in your way and tells you things that maybe you've been believing but are undermining your success. Highly recommend that you take advantage of it. I know that when I took it, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, thank you for showing me this to me, because I needed to see it. And I know that every client that I work with, who I share this with, is also very glad for what it reveals, and it helps them understand why they've made choices that they've made and why these situations keep showing up in their life. So don't forget to download it. I'm going to drop the link in at the end of this video and in the show notes, so you will have access to it. So let's get to it. Let's talk about this voice in your head that tells you you're not worth it. If you were going to do it, you would have done it already. So my client is somebody who saw herself as an artist, but wasn't able to claim her artistic strengths and abilities because of something that happened a long time ago. So here's the thing about these patterns that get developed. Something happens in our life, and it has us believing a story, and then the story helps us to stay safe. And that's what these sabotage patterns do, is they are these childhood strategies that make us believe this is how it should be, and then they keep us from really living who we are. And as she said, like, I just felt like I wasn't authentically myself, and was noticing that that's not who I wanted to be as a parent. It's not who I really knew I could be, and yet kind of felt some kind of shame that I wasn't living up to this idea of who I could be in the world, and wasn't able to get past it. And there was all these kind of landmines in my life that were stopping me. So do you identify with that? Like, you kind of know that there's more for you, and there's an idea that you have in your head about things that you perhaps could do, would like to do, you think about doing, you get these ideas in your head, and then you push them away and think, I can't do that. Who am I to do that? If I was going to do it, I would have done it already, or it's probably already been done, or somebody else is doing it better, so why bother? Right? That voice that undermines you and that robs you of your joy and robs you of your being able to say yes to yourself. And then when you think, well, maybe I have this opportunity and I could step out and say yes to myself. And this is what my client was identifying for herself, that then she would kind of check in with her husband, and he'd be like, oh no, you can't afford that, or no, like, you can't do that. And so his stuff would get in the way, and then they would kind of like ricochet off of each other. And then she said, then I really was feeling like I wasn't taking any forward action for myself, and didn't feel like I was a good role model for my children in the way that I wanted to be. I wanted to empower them in the way that I would like to be empowered. So you can see like all the different landmines that can get kicked up when we are not clear about herself. And that's what she said to me today in the session. She said, when I got really clear with myself and realized, no, I need to step out for myself. And what she identified, I need to step out for myself. And I need to say yes to working with you, because I see that as a bridge to taking me from where I am to where I want to go. So that's what our sabotage patterns, that's what that voice in the head will stop us from doing. And that's what she said, is that when I got clear and I realized that, 70% of me was saying, stay small, who are you to do it? He's not going to like it. She's like, that 30% of me was like, no, wait, I think there's more for me. When she got that clarity and she spoke it out loud to herself and to her husband, she was able to then have him dialogue back to her, okay, I support you. Whereas before, he was questioning her like, what are you doing? Why would you want to do something for yourself in that way? And you can see how that plays out, right? And I notice that in conversations that I have with women. They're like, oh yeah, I do need to do something. I do want to do something. And then when it comes time to take the action to do something, they don't. Because they hit that voice in their head that says, I can't. Who am I to do that? And that's the tricky part, is because you're so used to believing that voice in your mind that limits you, holds you back, keeps you safe, and says, no, I have to ask for permission. Like you're a child to have to get permission to step out into the world to be who you are. And you can use anybody. You can use your husband as an excuse. You can use your children as an excuse. They're not going to like it. It's going to interfere with the time I should be with them. My husband's not going to like it. It's going to take away from our time together. He's not going to like it because I'm going to be using money that I should put into something else, or whatever. I mean, that voice can get very loud and very creative, and it can be so believable. So you start thinking, it's right. Who am I to question that? That is always a clue. When you hear that voice, who am I to question that? Or who am I to think that I deserve? Or who am I to think blah, blah, blah? That's a clue that that is not your true self. That is that sabotage pattern that's been developed, that's been given traction, that's being given energy to. And when we give energy something, it gets stronger, it gets louder, it gets more powerful. And so then we start thinking, oh, that must be the truth. No, it is not. Know that when you are shooting on yourself or making excuses of why you can't do something, know that that is an old pattern, an old belief. And at any time, you can speak up to it. You can really start to have a dialogue with that voice. And that's what I think is so powerful about identifying these sabotage patterns. And if you have not taken the assessment, I highly recommend that you take it, like I mentioned in the beginning, because it starts to show you, oh, I see that pattern. It's a pattern. It's identified, as opposed to believing it as true. That when you see these patterns that have been developed, you're like, okay, I get how these patterns are in my way, and they're stopping me from being the me that I can be, and they're stopping them from being the you that you are meant to be. And so where do we go from here? Where do we go when we start to identify this voice? Where do we go when we start to realize, wait a minute, it's my time. I can step out. I can be that person who allows myself to speak in a different way, that allows myself to show up for myself in the way that I wish maybe somebody did when I was a child, or in the way that I want to speak up for my child. And that's what my client was identifying, is that she was starting to realize, wait, I want to empower my children to be comfortable, strong in what they want to pursue in the world. And I was like, wait, why am I not doing that for myself? So if you are somebody who is great at supporting others to, go for your dreams. If you've been wanting to do that, do that. Look at where you don't give that to yourself. Where do you not give yourself permission to go for your desires, your dreams? And as she said, as being an artist, she was like, it feels like I'm not going to get the reward. Like, if I'm not going to get the reward, then it feels frivolous to do that. And that's another way that these voices stop us. It says that, it's not going to be well received. I'm not going to make money for it. I'm not going to get a reward for it. So why bother? But the why bother is because inside of you, there is a desire to do that. And the truth is, you have no idea where that thing is going to take you. You don't know why you're being inspired to take an art class. You don't know why you're being inspired to write a poem. You don't know why you're inspired to have a fascination with birds. You don't know why you're fascinated with gardening or whatever it is, hiking. You just don't know. And when you stop yourself and don't allow yourself to pursue it because it seems frivolous, or I should be beyond this, or it shouldn't matter, you stop yourself from discovering what it actually has to teach you. I know that some time ago, I had this desire to, here's how it started. I was with somebody, I was in my 20s, and I had a sore throat, and I was looking for some kind of medication or something to fix my sore throat. And she said, here, take tea tree oil. It'll help your sore throat. And I thought, really? Tea tree oil help my sore throat? And so, sure enough, I took the tea tree oil and my sore throat went away. And I was kind of like, wow, if this oil could work on my throat, I wonder what other oils work and what else I can do with them. And that set me on a quest. And I started to get very interested and curious in essential oils and how they could help me feel better in my health and in my body. And I started to notice that I started to feel better around the oils and stuff that I was taking for my, what somebody was calling an allergy. It started to help whatever was my allergy, and I didn't have the same side effects from that stuff that was for my allergy. So I shared this with you because I had no idea how my saying that to this person, I kind of have a sore throat, where we were, she gave me the tea tree oil, and that tea tree oil was going to send me on this journey of discovery about essential oils and things that could help my body to feel better, and what these oils could do for me, and how I then pursue that as learning about studying aromatherapy and getting certified in aromatherapy and discovering the power of that and being able to support my mom when she had hip pain and using an oil. I learned so much because of my own interest and because of what that oil helped me in my throat, right? So we don't know what these interests, these desires have to offer us. But when we say, forget about it, can't be that important, don't pursue it, what am I going to do with it? We stop that discovery. And we're here, each of us, to uncover that which is our desire and that which it is within us that has an opening to direct us to that next thing. And so one of the things that, like, when you start to identify these different patterns that are in your way, you start to realize, wow, as I get underneath these patterns and they no longer run me, then you realize, oh my gosh, I have this energy available to me to be the me that I'm here to be. And I'm no longer run by these distractions and no longer run by these patterns that are taking me away from being a more fuller version of myself. And that's what I love about this journey. And that's what I was so excited about with my new client, because I know it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, wherever, if you have a desire to be more fully yourself, to feel more alive, more engaged, more connected, doesn't matter how long you've been practicing patterns that don't serve you, it's that desire within you to connect to the you that you truly are, that you can strengthen that and then step out into the world in this more evolved being who is here to do that which you are here to do. And that is the power that I love of the work that coaching and being on a journey for yourself. And that is why I am passionate about this podcast of saying yes to you, because I know how easy it is to not say yes to you. I know how easy it is to empower others as people who are great at saying yes to others, and how easy it is to not empower yourself. And I know the power of when you start to shift the scale and say yes to yourself, because you realize, I want to be the example for my children, for my grandchildren, for my peers, for the greater community, for who I'm here to be in the world, the lives I'm here to touch, just by being more connected to yourself. Because when you're constantly saying no to yourself, when you're constantly squelching that voice saying, who am I to listen to that? I don't deserve to take time for myself. I'm not worthy. I have to keep going. When you keep doing that, you are not in a place of joy and inspiration and attraction. You are tired. You're exhausted. You're more susceptible to getting sick, to feeling like life is a drag. And what's the point of that? But it's really easy to stay in that mindset. And when you've been that person in your life who's supporting others, they're not going to start being on your bandwagon and go, oh yeah, don't support me anymore. Take care of yourself. It starts with you. You listening, as my client said, it's that 30% voice. So it could be a 10% voice. It could be a 20% voice. It's that small voice you hear when you're willing to listen. Hey, what about this? Hey, I'm not happy. I'd like to do something different. And then you go, oh, you know what? Just keep going. Just don't pay attention to that. But I'm here to remind you, no, it's time to pay attention to it. It's time to give it voice, to fan the flame of it, to be willing to listen to it. What does it have to say to you? What is the whisper that you keep pushing away? Is it a skill that you want to learn? Is it just taking time for yourself to go lay in a hammock? Is it to take a watercolor class? Is it to just take a walk? What is it? Because when you start to acknowledge, hey, I've been pushing the door closed on myself for so long, it's time. It's time to start opening the door. It's time to start. And my client identified as like, there's areas in her life that just feel so chaotic. And she's like, oh my gosh, like all this chaos, just even in my kitchen, can just drain me. And so then I just don't feel very inspired. So maybe you have an aspect of your own life that's like, oh, I don't even want to go there. It's so draining. It feels so chaotic. I know any one of those pockets in our life are going to take us away from who we are here to be. And there is a line that says, that which you resist persists. So the more you push away, I don't want to deal with my kitchen. The more you push away, I don't want to deal with those piles. The more you push away, I don't want to deal with my garden. The more you push away, I don't want to deal with that relationship. The more it's actually activated in your life, and it's running you in the background, like it or not. And so this is the antidote to that. Bring it to the surface. Take the assessment. Let it show you, because it will start to reveal to you these patterns, and that which is brought to the light can be healed. And that's where the power is. And that's what I share with my clients, is we bring this stuff up. It's like taking inventory. What's saleable, what's not. And if we acknowledge it and we look at it, we're like, okay, where do we create a plan around this? Instead of it being the elephant in the living room and we just keep, stepping over it. Eventually it piles up so much you can't step over it and it just blocks you. So this is an invitation to look at those areas that feel like they're blocking you, not to judge or shame yourself, but to be able to start to look at what is it that can happen next. And there is the path of opportunity. And so as we are coming to a close today, I want you to really consider, where are you stopping yourself from stepping out into the world? Where are you stopping yourself from saying yes to yourself? Where are you stopping yourself from saying yes to that voice in your head that's like, God, I've really been wanting to do that, but I don't, and it's in the other year that I don't do that. Where is that? And bring that out, and maybe even just write it down. Just write it down for yourself. And begin that as the beginning to next steps of what you start to want for yourself. Take the assessment, start to look at what is next. And I would love to hear it. So drop me a comment about what you're identifying, what you're noticing. And from there, be open to the next steps that start to surface. So this is the reminder of the possibilities are endless, and that in itself can feel overwhelming. So we have to start somewhere. And I say, start with the assessment. Let those 9 different ways your mind plays out be a beginning of a roadmap. And then begin to identify that one top area that's most in your way, and identify where is it stopping you. And share your comment so that we can support you to start, take some different action so that you can feel more alive, connected, joy in your life instead of feeling like same old, Groundhog Day. So I look forward to hearing your comments, and if you haven't liked and subscribed already to this podcast, please do so. I am Claudia Braun, mindset and lifestyle coach for women great at saying yes to others, not always so great at saying yes to themselves. Check out the link to get your free assessment to identify where your mind is sabotaging you so you can start to shift and change those patterns. I look forward to being with you next week as we go deeper into the yes that you deserve to have. Bye for now.